Right now, an urgent search is underway for the mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie. Officials say 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie was last seen Saturday night near her home outside of Tucson, Arizona. She was reported missing Sunday at noon after she didn't go to church. Homicide detectives were sent to her home, which the county sheriff says is not standard. What they saw raised suspicions.
We saw some things at the home that were concerning to us. We believe now, after we processed that crime scene, that we do in fact have a crime scene. This is a 84-year-old lady who suffers from some physical ailments, has some physical challenges, is in need of medication that if she doesn't have in 24 hours, it could be fatal.
All right, I want to bring in CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst John Miller, CNN Security Correspondent Josh Campbell. Josh, let me start with you. What do we know? What don't we know about Nancy Guthrie's disappearance?
This has certainly taken a dire direction now. What started as a missing person case, authorities say now was the result of some type of crime. Of course, the big question, a crime committed by whom? Authorities haven't released any details about any possible suspect at this hour. As you mentioned, we know that Nancy Guthrie was last seen Saturday night. It wasn't until Sunday when she didn't go to church that authorities were eventually notified, and they launched this big search effort overnight to try to find her, but to no avail. Now, authorities aren't saying exactly what they found at that residence that makes them believe that this was the result of some type of crime, but they are appealing to members of the public, particularly in that neighborhood. They're asking people to proactively go through Ring doorbell camera footage. If anyone saw something suspicious, they want people to pick up the phone and call police. They're also employing a lot of new sophisticated technology as well, including license plate readers, which of course John Miller knows more than most about how those have been so critical in many types of cases. They're saying they're trying to determine if they can identify a possible suspect vehicle coming and going. The sheriff told MS Now a short time ago that they don't believe that this was some type of home invasion or robbery gone wrong. There's no evidence of that yet. They say everything remains on the table right now. But again, going in a very, dire direction here. Of course, all of us are, hoping, wishing for the best for Savannah and her mother and the NBC News family. But waiting for an update on authorities about how the status of that search and if there are any new clues that they've been able to uncover.
Yeah, a point of personal privilege. Savannah was a dear friend to me when I worked at NBC News. She was a mentor, and she is as genuine as they come. Her love for her mother was always so incredibly obvious, and of course, covering the story from that perspective is, of course, a personal challenge. And my heart here and our hearts at the show go out to Savannah and her family. John Miller, what do you say about what the possibilities could be here? I think everyone is, wondering why.
Well, we start off with what the possibilities aren't, and according to the sheriff and family members, this is an 84-year-old woman who had physical ailments, meaning she used a cane or a walker. She couldn't go far under her own steam. But her mental acuity is described as being tip-top. She was extremely with it, aware. So what is not being considered is that she wandered off into the night confused about who she was or where she was. Not going to be the case here, according to everybody who knows her. So that leaves us to, without the kind of disturbance in the house that would suggest ransacking or robbery, with the anomalies that investigators found, and it's more than one thing that the sheriff said, this is what we determined to be a crime scene as we processed it, it is suggestive of an abduction. If someone took her, then the question is this a random or targeted kind of crime? And if it's targeted, it's likely because of her association with a well-known figure, perhaps the idea that there could be money behind it. But what they also don't have, and this is all theoretical, is right now they don't, as far as I'm told, have contact with anybody who has made a ransom demand or any other kind of demand. So we're in the middle of a very perplexing mystery right now. and the silence is deafening. Pima County has used a tremendous amount of resources: investigators, people, helicopters, fixed-wing aircraft, drones, searching the area day and night. But so far, no real leads.
A really terrifying situation. Josh, I want to play a little bit more of what was said during the news conference that officials did about this earlier today. Take a look.
There were circumstances on scene that we believe are suspicious in nature, I think is the best way to put it, but we can't really get into a whole lot of details with that.
Is there any threat to the general public?
I don't think there's an active threat, but I hate to say that because, you know, we're going to canvass that neighborhood, and maybe there's a prowler been seen around. There's a lot of work still to do. We don't have any indication that that the public is in danger.
Josh, how would you interpret that statement?
Yeah, it's always a tough question for investigators to get after you have, an allegedly violent act, to then try to provide some type of assurance to the public. But they're going based on what they know right now. And again, as the sheriff had said, this didn't look like some type of home invasion or robbery as of right now. That could change if additional facts come to light. But they're clearly taking their time in these cases. And it's not unusual that, they make that calculation. Okay, we're going to keep certain information close to the vest because, for example, if you are able to identify a suspect, you then want to get the jump on that person, the element of surprise, without pushing that information out. But the longer this goes on, the authorities may make a determination that, okay, we do want to share more as we gather information. One thing we do know, and obviously a very heartbreaking situation, we're hoping for the absolute best, is that the sheriff, was quite clear in saying that they are racing a clock right now because Nancy Guthrie was on prescription medications that the sheriff says if she goes more than 24 hours, it could prove fatal. And so time is certainly critical here.
Of the essence. John Miller.
What the sheriff said
go ahead,
was, the sheriff indicated, that we have her phone. Well, if authorities have her phone, that means she does not. So the opportunity to track her through that device is off the table. But it also suggests that nobody is going to leave the house, north of 10 o'clock at night and go anywhere without their phone. So it's just another concerning sign.
Concerning indeed. All right, John Miller, Josh Campbell, thank you both very much. Really appreciate it. Anyone who might have information about this is encouraged to contact the Pima County Sheriff's Department. It is there on your screen. The number is 520-351-4900, or you can always, of course, call 911.